time. I'm relaying my time.
Really?
The committee will be in order.
Hey, yo! Woo! Keep at it. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. That's awesome. Even Asmonfold is not defending Pam Bondi and saying Pam Bondi's response here has been disastrous. Zoom in on Pam Bondi's. Just spoke to Representative Jayapal about AG Bondi's binder page, Jayapal Pramila search history that seemed to include what Jayapal looked for at DOJ when viewing unredacted Epstein files is totally inappropriate, Jayapal told me. Is this the whole reason they opened the files up to us 2 days early so they could essentially surveil members to see what we were going to ask her? Oh my God. Of course they did that. Anyway, let's get to it. All hell breaks loose as Jayapal asked Bondi to turn around and apologize to Epstein survivors.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, Attorney General Bondi, right here. We are joined in this room by some of the thousands of survivors from Jeffrey Epstein's horrific sex trafficking ring. They have shown such incredible courage in speaking out, in demanding accountability to bring the predators and pedophiles to justice. The Epstein Files Transparency Act required your Department of Justice to disclose the perpetrators connected with Epstein's criminal activities and to redact the information of survivors to protect their identities. Let me show you what actually happened. First, in violation of the law, your department has shown a pattern of redacting the names of powerful predators. Here behind me is one example of an email from Epstein to a man whose name was redacted. The email reads, quote, "Where are you? Are you okay? I loved the torture video." Only after members of Congress demanded that we see the unredacted files did the world learn the name of this individual, Sultan Ahmed bin Sulayem, the chairman and CEO of a company that had financial ties to President Trump's business and personal ties to Trump's advisor, Steve Bannon. Second, the survivors were not similarly protected, also in violation of the law. Here is another email titled Epstein Victim List. We have blurred the names of the survivors for their protection, but your Department of Justice initially released this list of 32 survivors' names with only one name redacted, along with numerous files that disclose not only the names, the emails, and the addresses of survivors, but also nude photographs and even the identities of Jane Does who had been protected for decades until your department released their names. Survivors are now telling us that their families are finding out for the first time that they were trafficked by Epstein. In their words, quote, "This release does not provide closure. It feels like a deliberate attempt to intimidate survivors, punish those who came forward, and reinforce the same culture of secrecy that allowed Epstein's crimes to continue for decades." To the survivors in the room, if you are willing, please stand. And if you are willing, please raise your hands if you have still not been able to meet with this Department of Justice. Please know for the record that every single survivor has raised their hand. Attorney General Bondi, you apologize to the survivors.
None of this will matter. No, you're wrong. I think it's still important to hold this admin to account. This is also part of the reason why I don't mind working with Democrats in general, even if they don't fully agree with me. What are you talking about? The optics of this matters. The argument matters. What are you supposed to do? Not have this hearing? Are you insane? I said it beforehand. And it bears repeating. This is a major fissure in the base. This is a major weak point in the base. So much so that even the Democrats have realized that they need to exhaust this talking point. It's also a massive, catastrophic injustice that is taking place. Of course they should bring this up. Yeah, the Bondi, Pam Bondi, DOJ, Kash Patel, FBI didn't even meet with the Epstein survivors before concluding Epstein wasn't running a trafficking ring. It's psychotic. It's completely unacceptable. It's completely psychotic. Please stop trying to present everything as like as a negative. I know that you have calcified your resistance to shit libs in general. I get it. I understand where you're coming from. I understand why that's like frustrating for you, but we can't be doing that. Like sometimes they are doing good things. This is one of those instances. They're doing the right thing.
In your opening statement for what they went through at the hands of Jeffrey Epstein. Will you turn to them now and apologize for what your Department of Justice has put them through with the absolutely unacceptable release of the Epstein files and their information?
Congresswoman, you sat before, Merrick Garland sat in this chair twice.
Attorney General Bondi,
No, can I finish my answer?
No, I'm going to reclaim my time because I asked you a specific question that I would like you to answer, which is, will you turn to the survivors? This is not about anybody that came before you. It is about you.
Dude, by the way, Pam Bondi's reaction to this was so crazy. I think that they are not reading the room. I will say, because I watched pieces of this before I went live, and she was so aggressive. Instead of like taking a more reasonable position and being like, here are some of the reasons as to why we did this, all this stuff. It's indefensible to begin with, but they thought they could get away with attack. And it looked like she was, especially because like a lot of people are also, sexist. Let's be real. She looks like a hysterical woman. For even the base, right? Like when I see the way she's behaving there, I get mad because I see a person in a profound position of power doing everything to deny victims of assault and sex trafficking as minors their day in court, their justice, their everything that they've advocated for, right? Like she is a hurdle against that at the behest of an international sex trafficking a cabal of billionaires. It's insane. The right that also cares about this looks at a hysterical woman on top of that. So I think like the optics are really bad for the right in general, where this, in my opinion, is so indefensible. The way that she attacked back like a rabid dog at anyone and everyone that would try to hold her to account, I think that will backfire, okay? I think that will backfire. I think that there are already people that are naysayers about Pam Bondi in the base for the Republicans, because let's be real, our position doesn't matter to this administration at all. Like Nick Fuentes, as a neo-Nazi, has more prominence in the Republican movement than all of us do, right? You can have 75% of the country be like, this sucks, you suck dick, stop doing this, and they won't stop doing it until you got like a person that has like maybe let's say 5% of the base of support on the Republican side come out and be like, this is a bridge too far. Then they'll respond. And I do think this issue is the issue where the base is not in line with the party. The base is not in line with the politicians. The base is not in line with Donald Trump. So her keeping up this like really aggressive posture when even people like Pramila Jayapal are actually representing the wishes of the Republican base is a major misstep. Do you see what I mean? Because when she's yelling like that, a Republican MAGA voter that watches this congressional hearing, if they watch it at all, are not going to read this as Pam Bondi yelling at a woke liberal, because that woke liberal in that moment is actually asking questions that the MAGA voter also has. So now it's gonna, for them, it's gonna look like she's yelling at the base, right? There is no political polarization you can lean into in this issue. Okay? There will be some in the cult that will say, oh, Pam Bondi is an attack dog. I really love this shit. Yeah, sure, surely. But what matters most is how many of the MAGA base that you can chip away. How indefensible this looks. This already happened with Donald Trump. There's a reason why this is the issue that has the highest salience. This is the issue that has caused the most divergence between Donald Trump and the people that love him and demonstrate cult-like loyalty. And that's partially because Donald Trump has said over and over again that if you care about the Epstein files, you're a Democrat, it's a Democrat conspiracy, all of this stuff. And that caused people to go, wait a minute, I care about the Epstein stuff. And I voted for you 3 times. So when Pam Bondi, who has already fallen out of favor with the base of support, comes out and yells like this at people who are asking very reasonable questions about the lack of transparency that we've gotten, even though we've demanded from the Epstein files, and why they are presenting major hurdles in these revelations and protecting elite billionaire files, it makes Republicans feel like Pam Bondi is yelling at them too.
Taking responsibility for your Department of Justice and the harm that it has done to the survivors who are standing right behind you and are waiting for you to turn to them and apologize for what your Department of Justice has done.
Members get to ask the questions, the witness gets to answer in the way they want to answer. The Attorney General can
That's
respond.
not accurate, Mr. Chairman.
Because she
It
doesn't
is
like the
my
answer.
time.
So,
Mr. Chairman,
why
I have asked
didn't
a
she
question.
ask Merrick Garland this?
I am
twice
reclaiming
when he
my
sat in my
time, and
chair?
when I
will
reclaim my
continue to
time,
answer.
it is
Mr. Chairman, the
my
gentlelady's
time.
reclaimed
I'm
her
not going
time.
to get in the gutter for her theatrics.
The time belongs to the time belongs to the gentlelady. The gentlelady has 17 seconds.
Thank you. You're not going to answer this question, so let me just
Chairman,
say this.
I'll direct it to
what a
you.
massive
No, I'm
cover-up.
answering a
Mr.
question.
Chairman, will you restore her time? The witness
I'm
is
not going to get in
interrupting.
the gutter with this woman.
Stop the
She's
time
doing
and
theatrics.
let me have my time.
The gentlelady from Washington controls the time. The gentlelady has 17 seconds. You can proceed with your final
Thank you.
17 seconds.
What a massive cover-up this has been and continues to be. Donald Trump made the release of the Epstein files the center of his political campaign because he thought it would benefit him. Then you got into office, Attorney General, claimed to have a client list, only
Regular
to
order.
then say that there was no list. Your deputy, Todd Blanche, met alone with Ghislaine Maxwell and transferred her to a minimum security prison. And now you continue the cover-up. And I wish that you would turn around to the survivors who are standing right behind you and on a human level
Chairman,
apologize
The chair now
to them
recognizes the chair.
on what you have done.
Time of the gentlelady.
yield.
What is this? To his baby ranch. Worst thing I've seen. Jeffrey's asking if you could FedEx the painting he made of the massacre of the innocents of the ranch. It's large 9x9 canvas that we had rolled out for him to see in the entryway. They are killing babies. He wants us to use it on the ranch. Yeah, I mean that's pretty freaky. I don't know. I feel like it implies what we know about already, which is Zora Ranch is a baby making operation through coercion, through force, through way.
May I respond?
Anyway, Massey and Bondi have a shocking fight as he accuses her of the Epstein files cover-up as well. Incredible picture of the room that proves your point. Epstein survivors raised their hands to signal that they've been ignored by Trump's DOJ, and AG Pam Bondi refused to look at them. 69,000 likes. I'm telling you right now, man. I'm telling you, this shit is so indefensible. Either the Republicans need to reposition themselves as the pro party, which some will do, like Megyn Kelly and you know, even Nick Fuentes to a certain degree did that until he dropped it and is now in opposition to it, or they're like, there's no way out of this. And I think if they position themselves as pro pedophilia and how pedophilia is actually good and if pedophilia is fine, until or when they do that, when they start trying to do that, they are going to come across as even more repulsive to the MAGA base even. Because the point here is to wither away Trump's base of support from that 20% that is impossible to shake off Donald Trump to a 10% that is ultimately meaningless, right? That's the point here. Now, of course, the Democrats will do everything in their power to even lose that 10% of cult-like fealty, but, you know, that's besides the point. We're not talking about the Democrats right now. We're talking about the Republicans, right? Because a lot of people don't understand. They think like, oh, well, Trump always has that 20 to 30%. Okay, well, that 30% that used to be unshakable, I think has withered away a little bit. Now we're in the 20 to 30% range. If it goes from 30% to 20%, tomorrow it could go to 10%. Okay? Trump, I assume, if Pam Bondi keeps doing this and steps on these landmines, will probably offer her up as red meat to the base to be like, see, we're listening, we're hearing you. I think that's what's going on here.
Very briefly to her statement.
Well, I think we can do that
Okay.
probably on one of our members' time.
Okay, thank you. I don't want that to get away. Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Behind me, I have 3 documents from the DOJ production that are emblematic of the massive failure of the DOJ to comply with the Epstein Files Transparency Act. To my right is an email that was sent by the victim's lawyers to the DOJ. It was a list of names not to redact, or sorry, a list of names not to release. What did the DOJ do with this email? They released this email in the document production. Literally the worst thing you could do to the survivors, you did. And they're getting phone calls. A lot of these people didn't want to be known. And we know you touched the document because you redacted one name and you redacted the lawyer's name, but you left the survivor's name there. The next document I want to show you, that was in the title, the victim's survivors' names, all right? The title of this one is Child Trafficking, Co-Conspirators, fully redacted.
Indefensible. By the way, much respect to Thomas Massie, who is like a total freak on so many other issues, but on this one, that's my GOAT. Like I said, I'll work with anybody and everybody that will try to put a dent in the armor of the international billionaire cabal. Thomas Massie has been doing that. He's also a consistent advocate for Palestinians as well, uncompromising, you know, which these two issues are pretty tied to one another. Let's be real, right? It's not an accident that Jeffrey Epstein was so closely associated with the Israeli government. So, you know, we're rocking with Thomas Massie on this one. Respect.
And by the way,
what things you don't like about him? Dog, Thomas Massie is a you're baiting me into him right now. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to eat the bait. That's my GOAT. That's my GOAT. He's great. He's fantastic. What do you mean? He's like chatter. He is a giga libertarian who also happens to be super pro ICE, which is inconsistent with being a libertarian, but that's besides the point. We're not doing it right now. He's my GOAT right now in this moment.
Les Wexner is in this. Now, your your deputy attorney general said, oh, well, he appears hundreds of times in the files, but he doesn't appear in this file until I forced you to release it, where he's listed as a co-conspirator, not to tax evasion, but to child trafficking, not to prostitution, not to money laundering, child trafficking. And then finally, what we have here is the third exhibit that I have.
Thomas Massie is a libertarian who applies non-aggression principle to minors. Okay? That's it. Most libertarians don't do that. That's the reason why he's going so hard on both Israel and also on the Epstein stuff. Most libertarians forget to apply non-aggression principle to minors. He doesn't do that. Okay? So he's anti-diddling children.
Is emblematic of the FD 302 release. These are the documents that we need that you're holding on to and over-redacting because they have the names of the men who are implicated. How do we know? Because the survivors gave testimony to the FBI, and it's in there. And what happens when you go to the portal at the DOJ to look at what's behind this redaction? Another redaction. So we can't even see them. And then there's some of these files you've pulled down from the website that we will never see because we can't search the redactions. So I have several questions for you. Who's responsible? Are you able to track who in your organization made this massive failure and released the victims' names? Are you able to track who it was that obscured Les Wexner's name as a co-conspirator in an FBI document? Do you have that kind of accountability?
I believe Wexner's name was listed more than 4,000 times about.
Look at the reaction to Tom Massie, by the way, versus the reaction to like Pramila Jayapal.
Yeah, I already told you that. This is where he's listed as a co-conspirator.
Can I finish my answer? Come on, let me finish my answer.
He's a white guy. Of course you like this. No. It's because he's a Republican. And this was the entire thing, by the way. Can I finish my answer? Can I finish my answer? That's all she did. All she did was whine, 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 whine. All she did was yell and yell and yell. And I'm telling you right now, this shit don't look good at all, brother. This does not look good to anybody that pays attention to it.
We corrected that within 40 minutes. He was already, you're acting like everybody's trying to cover up Wexner's name.
Reclaiming my time.
I'm going to answer this question.
Reclaiming my time.
He
It's-
was,
Mr.
this
Chairman,
isn't how this works.
Can I have my time
He
back?
was,
Mr. Chairman,
The gentlelady can give her answer. The time belongs to the gentleman from
all right,
Kentucky.
I'm
But let-
reclaiming my
Can I give
time.
my answer?
So,
Yes.
There is, the irony is not lost on me that this conversation is taking place, or rather being moderated by mother Jim Jordan, okay, who is notorious for a abuse cover-up, okay, is the one who is also moderating this conversation. He's chairing this committee and has complete command over which way this conversation goes about sex cover-up by the administration. He's like, this is I'm locked and loaded. This is like what my career has been gearing towards. Oh, the Jim Jordan, remember when he slammed The Undertaker through the Hell in Cell? Okay, stop. Jim Jordan's expertise literally lies in doing cover-up of in Ohio, by the way, where Les Wexner actually dumped a load of money to Jim Jordan's athletic program. Another Les Wexner, another moment where Jim Jordan is actually doing cover-up for a Les Wexner affiliated sexual abuse scandal. It's pretty crazy.
to put the language of the bill up on the screen.
Chairman,
Because I
may I
have
give my
another
answer
question.
on that?
Here's
It's a political
the question.
joke, and I need to give my
Can I give my answer on that? Nope.
answer
Yeah,
on that.
we'll let the Attorney General respond, and then the gentleman can move to his
Chairman,
next
it's
question.
my time.
Within 40 minutes, you asked me a question.
You can give
Within
me-
40 minutes, Wexner's name was added back.
Within 40 minutes
You
of
ha-
me catching you red-handed.
Red hand, there was one redaction out
Where
of
he's
over
listed as a
4,700,
co-conspirator.
Okay.
and we
Yeah. You redacted Les Wexner as a primary co-conspirator. You didn't redact his name in other files, but the file that matters the most, that basically shows that he was a co-conspirator, an unindicted co-conspirator, an uninvestigated co-conspirator, is the one you redacted. Yeah, you did get caught. You got caught. You got caught red-handed. It's true. Oh, we just got caught red-handed for 40 minutes. Shut up. It wasn't for 40 minutes. It was for months in the initial revelation.
invited
You know what?
you
Switch-
in.
show the video.
This
Show
guy
the-
has Trump derangement syndrome. He needs you're a failed politician.
Gentlemen,
You need to
time
get
belongs
on
want you to
these
watch the video.
matters.
Mr. Chairman, please restore his time and remind the witness of the
himself,
rules
there
here.
is
Time.
no credible information. None. If there were, I would bring the case yesterday that he trafficked to other individuals.
Is that your position as well?
My position is any victim who comes forward, of course, we would love to hear from them. 1-800-CALL-FBI. Did you ask Merrick Garland that the last 4 years? Did you talk about Epstein?
I am
at
reclaiming
all
my
the
time.
last
I'm
4
glad you're
years?
asking about Merrick Garland.
You don't get to reclaim
because
time
this
when
is
you don't-
bigger
when
than
you can't-
Watergate.
when I don't answer a question the
This
way you
goes
want.
over 4 administrations. You don't have to go back to Biden. Let's go back to Obama. Let's go back to George Bush. This cover-up spans decades, and you are responsible for this portion of it.
And that's
now,
where the
I want to
most
know at what
transparent-
point did the FBI and the DOJ decide that Lex Wessner was not a co-conspirator? Because our Epstein Files Transparency Act requires you, please put it
Time is
back on
up.
the screen, please, to
To the people who keep asking me, like, what makes you so confident that the Republicans will actually take their administration to task on this Epstein stuff? The fact that this hearing is even taking place is proof of that. There are plenty of things that the administration doesn't respond to at all, regardless of how much independents and Democrats chirp about. One must ask the question why this is the thing that they are responding to. It's because the Republican base cares about this, chat. How is this proof of that? Oh my God, brother, what are you talking about? This is, look, political polarization in this country is set in completely, okay? Party loyalty trumps everything else. There are very few issues that actually move across, party loyalty, okay? This is one of them. Trump knows that as long as he maintains his base, it's going to be fine. Okay? It's not going to be fine, but like at least he can maintain some level of popular support and do whatever the he wants to do. This is the one issue where his base is like, no, I'm not on board with what you're doing. I'll give you another example. Israel. Trump could have just kept allowing Israel to keep pummeling Gaza without even making an aesthetic plea to make it seem as though there was a real ceasefire taking place. Now, there isn't a real ceasefire. We know that. But the reason why he even forced Israel's hand to act like there's a ceasefire now implemented and significantly lowered the damage that Israel is doing to the Palestinians was because he realized that he was losing his own base of support on this issue. Okay? And yes, while Israel has not ceased its endless pummeling of Gaza, let's be real, it's not the same. It's not to the same degree as like the amount of bombing that was taking place pre-fake ceasefire implementation. The reason why he did that is because he wanted to move the conversation away from Israel. Here is the base being at odds with the Republican mouthpieces in action, right? Laura Ingraham asked Turning Point crowd how many were satisfied with the Epstein investigation and invited applause. Let's take a look.
How many of you are satisfied? You can clap. Satisfied with the results of the Epstein investigation. Clap. Okay, I told you to clap. You guys aren't listening. I'm not going to grade you on a curve. So I was going to get to that. How many of you are not satisfied with the results of the investigation?
Bondi stonewalled the D's today. The GOP base can't feel any relief from this. In your opinion, do they start calling for Bondi's resignation? I think it's important for us to try to get those guys to call for Bondi's resignation. Okay? That's what I think. Because I think if you get any W out of this, if you get any blood, if you get even a little bit of blood, you cut them and they bleed a little bit, and you show people that they have the capacity to bleed, I promise you, more of it will come, okay? That's what I think. That's what I believe. Because right now, Republicans have basically created a fortress around themselves, right? They've created a fortress around themselves on these opinions. They've created a fortress around themselves on maintaining the no compromise position. They did this with ICE, right? And even in their, I'm going back to shitting on the Democrats right now, but even in their move away from like punishing Minneapolis, they're not actually moving from punishing Minneapolis, but the Democrats are allowing them to get away with it in some ways by taking a reform position on ICE and not really making a big stink and presenting this as a big W when it's not. If you were to get a scalp here, the blood's in the water and the sharks will pounce.
Release the internal decision about whether to prosecute him or not, and it's not in the files, and it's not in the files for any of these other men.
Time of the gentleman has expired.
May she answer?
And he's a hypocrite because he voted against the ban that we were talking about on.
But don't you think it'll be just another cop-out like Bovino while nothing changes? Like it feels like it's W and everyone moves on. It will be if we let it happen. But this is a domestic affair. It's the same with ICE. People are more likely to forget about Gaza because Americans are very selfish people and they think like Gaza's happening over there versus their opinion is on ICE, which is happening over here. I'll give you an example. Palantir. Palantir is in the news today. It should be in the news every day, but it's in the news today right now. Why? Because there has been an internal mutiny within the ranks of Palantir. Palantir had no issues when they were being used by Israel to murder people in Gaza. Here's a scoop from McKenna Kelly at Wired magazine. Tensions at Palantir have grown in recent weeks over the company's work with ICE. On Friday, CEO Alex Karp tried to calm concerns in an hour-long video that offered few specifics instead of offering NDAs to workers who want to understand how it's empowering ICE. Ali Winston says, amazing how ICE, not Israel, was the final straw for Palantir employees. Kind of a big tell. This is important for people to understand because ICE is domestic occupation. ICE is domestic violence. And Americans care more about domestic violence than they do about the foreign violence that we're dishing out alongside a religious ethno state. Right? Israel. There is a level of like moral removal that Americans engage in when they go, oh, well, that's Israel doing it. And maybe we should stop Israel from doing it, but that's not our crime, right? That's not happening to me. It's happening to people that may or may not deserve it. And the reason why I'm bringing this up The reason why I'm bringing this dynamic up is because the Epstein stuff is not going to go away in the same way that like people can move on from Israel, even if we don't. The majorities can move on from Israel and think like, oh, it's in the rear view mirror now. The Epstein stuff, they're not going to move on from.
Deep fake AI. Only 2 people voted against it, and you were one of them, hypocrite.
The gentleman's time has expired. You didn't answer the question.
Mr.
Yeah,
Chairman,
Mr. Chairman, could she answer the question?
Chairman, I was wondering.
The gentlelady's allowed, the Attorney General's allowed to respond the way she wants to respond to any member's questions, Republican, Democrat.
Yeah, of course Jim Jordan is going to defend Pam Bondi.
I have unanimous consent request.
Dick eater.
Gentleman's recognized for a UC.
All right. This is an example. I'm submitting these 302 forms that are entirely redacted, even when you go to look at them.
Without objection.
I'm submitting a witness statement that implicates Les Wexner.
Without objection.
I'm submitting an article from the New York Times that the DOJ released nude photos and identifiable pictures of the victims. I'm submitting a letter from A.G. Bondi to Kash Patel, imploring him to quit keeping the files when you found out that they were keeping files from you, because they're still redacting files that you...
Chairman, are we going to recess for votes?
Yes, we are.
I'm submitting for unanimous consent a document of 17 individuals who've resigned because of the Epstein files.
Without objection. Just want to check on how much time we have left in votes, but one thing I've learned here of late that they'll wait on us.
I have a UC.
Ms. Crockett from Texas is recognized for UC.
Thank you so much. Donald Trump's approval rating.
I think Bondi might get shit canned after this, but who knows? Breaking, Bondi appears to have just committed a federal crime by lying under oath. Ted Lieu just caught her in a lie and called her for her resignation on live television. We got to make a bigger stink about this, okay?
Implodes on his strongest issue. This is from Newsweek today. It says 40% of people approve of Trump's handling of immigration and border security, while 60% disapprove.
Without objection,
that is a
admitted.
net drop
Now I recognize the gentleman
-20.
from California, Mr. Lieu.
Thank you, Attorney General Bondi, for being here today. I'm going to show you 2 photos.
Thank you.
I'm going to show you 2 photos of former Prince Andrew. Prince Andrew attended various parties with Jeffrey Epstein. Under the law Congress passed, you were allowed to redact photos to protect the victims of Epstein's operation. You redacted the photos of this victim's face because you were following the congressional law. Is that correct?
I'm sorry that we redacted the victim's
Because you were
face.
following the congressional law, correct?
Yes.
Okay. You have now established that we...
Smart. This is smart. He comes in. He comes in with a point of agreement to, like, you know, disarm the opponent.
The photos back up.
This is a lie detector technique almost, where you ask for control questions, right? Like basic questions that you're going to answer. Let's see where he goes.
We are looking at a trafficking victim. Under the Federal Victims Trafficking Protection Act, not only is Jeffrey Epstein guilty, but anyone who patronizes Epstein's sex operation is also guilty of a crime. That's why I find it absolutely despicable that you sought to protect Epstein's clients, like former Prince Andrew. Last July, you closed the case on Epstein's abusers. The July 2025 memo from your Department of Justice stated, quote, "We did not uncover evidence that could predicate an investigation against uncharged third parties." These 2 photos, please put the photos back up. These 2 photos staring you in the face are evidence of a crime and more than enough evidence to predicate an investigation against former Prince Andrew. So I ask you, Attorney General Pam Bondi, why did you shut down this investigation last July, and why have you...
Ooh! Okay, Ted. Okay, Ted. See? They're all sharks at the end of the day, but when they see blood in the water, they cook. I would love to see how Asmongold defends this shit.
you
the
not
way.
prosecuted former Prince Andrew?
I don't believe you asked Merrick Garland these questions when he was Attorney General and set before.
I agree with you.
You twice.
I'm reclaiming my
Did you?
time.
Never
I agree with
mentioned
you. I agree with you. During
Were
the
you not
Biden
here
during
then?
the Biden administration, I called for people to look into Epstein files. Merrick Garland dropped the ball, as did Attorney General Bill Barr, as did Alex Acosta, a whole string of failures. But you are in charge. You have the power to change things, to hold these men accountable, and you're doing the opposite. You're protecting.
These guys have no you, by the way. All they got is no you.
So I want to move on to another man.
Can I answer
Donald
that,
Trump.
though?
I want to move on to another
Can I answer
question.
your question about protecting
You
Prince
answered the
Andrew?
question.
You're saying no. I love this.
I want to discuss another man, Donald Trump, who is all over the Epstein files, like former Prince. Here's a video. Like former Prince Andrew.
They're just besties. They're besties. Oh, I'm sorry. I guess it's illegal to be friends now. Well, yeah, with the international sex trafficker, yeah.
Andrew, Donald Trump attended various parties with Jeffrey Epstein. I want to know, were there any underage girls at that party or at any party that Trump attended with Jeffrey Epstein?
This is so ridiculous, and that they are trying to deflect from all the great things Donald Trump has done. There is no evidence that Donald Trump has committed a crime. Everyone knows that. This has been the most transparent president.
That's so funny. Dude, you're literally sitting on a Judiciary Committee hearing because you redacted Donald Trump's name alongside numerous prolific international billionaire files. It's not exactly a moment where you can defend the transparency of the administration. Oh, what a crock of absolute dog
Presidency. He's the one that asked that those
And
files.
she just keeps deflecting too whenever they're like, hey, notice how you protected international sex traffickers like over and over again. And she's like, well, this is the most transparent administration.
Reclaim my time. I got
This is also kind of Israel. This is like Israel, the most moral nation.
your answer. You said there's
President
no evidence.
Trump asked
Chairman, please
Trump
stop the
to
clock. My time.
sign the legislation.
Time.
This is
Time.
this
I'd like
is
to reclaim my
ridiculous.
time.
Time belongs to the gentleman from California.
Okay. I'm going to put up another document from a witness who called the FBI's National Threat Operations Center because I believe you just lied under oath. There is ample evidence in the Epstein file.
Don't you ever accuse me of a crime.
I believe you just lied under oath, and this is all on videotape. You said there's no evidence of a crime. I'm showing you. Here is.
She's like, oh, you committed perjury just now. She's like, don't you ever. What are you going to do about it? Because you did do that. Oh, my God. Oh, let's go. Oh, please, please, R.I.P. Bozo. Please, I can't wait.
A witness statement who called into the FBI's Threat Operations Center. He drove Donald Trump around in a limo. He overheard what Donald Trump said to Jeffrey on his cell phone. He was so angry, he was going to stop the limo and hurt Donald Trump. And he met a girl who said she was raped by Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein. She later had her head blown off, and officers at the scene said that could not have been. No one at the Department of Justice interviewed this witness. You need to interview this witness immediately. Epstein should rot in hell, so should the men who patronized his operation. And as we sit here today, there are over 1,000 sex trafficking victims, and you have not held a single man accountable. Shame on you. If you had any decency, you would resign right after this hearing concludes.
The gentleman has expired.
May I respond?
Yeah, I don't know how you respond. No one can.
I did not
can
ask a
respond,
question,
but
Mr.
he doesn't
You're
want
allowed
to talk
to.
about
I did
the
not ask a
horrific
question.
crime in California. He does not want to talk about
I did not ask a
crime
question.
in
Oh my God. Dude, her answer literally always is like, well, what about crime in California? What about this? Dude, this is, I can't believe I'm saying this because we're seeing this currently at the national stage play out. Debate philia. This is the highest state of debate pervertry, which is debate philia. You can't hit this. You can't hit this if you're not Trump. This is a Trumpian response, right? no you, no you, no you, over and over again. Only Trump gets to do that. And even on the Epstein stuff, Trump can't do that either. Because guess what? The no you can't be worse. I mean, or the no you, when you do no you, it has to be worse overall than what you are covering up. When someone calls you a file or a file protector, you can't turn around and say, okay, well, you like use, for example. Do you see what I mean? Like, you can't turn around and go, well, you're saying that I'm like protecting files, but what about your crimes against small businesses? You know what I mean? Like, that's not going to work. That's not going to work at all. It's ironic because I experienced one of these like debate pedophiles earlier, right? One of the things that I was, here's an example, right? Here's a example. Here's a glaringly obvious example of this no you defense not actually working and falling flat on its face. Where is it? Let me find it real quick. You're in a sex cult led by a file streamer. The day he goes Republican, you will too. You didn't care when he boosted Sam Hyde, Nick Fuentes, or Lauren Southern. Don't talk to me about obeying in advance. Vote blue no matter who got us into this mess. How many Groyper accounts have you retweeted and signal boosted? Does know you work there, you think? No, it doesn't. It doesn't. It's the same exact strategy. It doesn't work, at least for the time being. At least for the time being.
From Tennessee's recognized.
Pedophilia still has a lot of stigma, luckily. It's kind of going away, but at least it has a lot of stigma. Just so I can feel something, can you please zoom in on Bondi's awful roots? Her cosmetologist clearly hates her and I need to feel something. Okay, no.
Thank you. I'd like to introduce for the record a letter to Director Gabbard from Mr. Warner and Mr. Himes, and a letter of response from her to them about who invited her to Atlanta, and a copy of the search warrant. And I'd also like to just make clear for the record, the reason people in Memphis weren't going out was because the ice was on the ground and we were afraid we'd fall. But other than that, we go out all the time.
Your worst take yet? Rude? What? That no you as a defense only works if the no you that you're deflecting away from has to be a higher crime in general. 100%. Oh no, let us roast her roots. Okay, calm down.
Gentlemen, without objection, there's unanimous consent. The gentlelady from Vermont is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Attorney General Bondi, according to your department, a child is used in the United States every 9 minutes, and the vast majority of survivors never get justice. And that's one of the reasons why I think the Epstein case has resonated so deeply with so many Americans. And the other reason, I think, is because it has revealed a two-tiered system of justice. And the powerful are protected, and the survivors rarely get any accountability. And the Epstein files contain evidence of a multi-decade international criminal conspiracy involving some of the wealthiest and the most powerful people in the world. There's evidence of financial crimes, political corruption, sex trafficking, and of course, horrible abuse. And I want to remind everybody, this isn't a game. These are real people, people who have suffered, who are sitting here with us today, and they deserve answers, and they deserve accountability. And I'm here to try to get some for them. Now, I've seen some of the unredacted Epstein files, and obviously, as you know, President Trump's name is all over them, but so are the names of other senior Trump officials: Howard Lutnick, Secretary of Commerce; John Phelan, the Secretary of the Navy; and Stephen Feinberg, the Deputy Secretary of Defense. These men were appointed by President Trump to senior positions in his administration. All of them have clear and confirmed ties to Jeffrey Epstein. Attorney General Bondi, yes or no, has the Justice Department asked Secretary Lutnick about his ties to Epstein?
Excuse me. Secretary Lutnick has addressed those ties himself.
I'm asking you, has the Justice Department specifically asked Secretary Lutnick about his ties to Jeffrey Epstein?
He has addressed those ties himself.
Has the DOJ asked Secretary Phelan about his ties to Jeffrey Epstein?
I don't know whether he has addressed those or not.
Has the deputy,
I like that. Oh, he's addressed it himself. Okay, but you're the Department of Justice. Like, what do you mean he's addressed it himself? It doesn't matter if he's addressed it himself. You need to be conducting an investigation. Someone is suspected of doing a drunk driving, okay? Someone is suspected of killing someone in a drunk driving incident, okay? You ask the DOJ, have you prosecuted this person for drunk driving? You go, well, he came out and said he was drunk driving. Oh, okay. I didn't realize if the protector himself says he was actually homies with the file, then you don't have to conduct any additional investigation into it. Mystery solved, I guess. What are we doing? New Israel connection just dropped. The ditch gained access to Jeffrey Epstein's FedEx account. Records show it was used for shipments long after his death in an address book, including a senior Israeli military officer now considered a strategic consultant for diplomatic matters. Wait, what? I don't know what this is, but we'll look at this later.
Deputy Secretary Feinberg talked to the Department of Justice about his ties to Jeffrey Epstein. Yes or no? Has the Department of Justice talked to Deputy Secretary Feinberg about his ties to Jeffrey Epstein, which are clearly spelled out in the files? It's a very simple question. It's not a trick question. I'm just asking you.
Yeah, I'm stunned that you want to continue talking about.
Oh my gosh.
Epstein
Okay,
instead
I'm
of a Border
reclaiming my
Patrol
time. I'm
agent
asking
murdered.
you not a trick question, a simple
Stunned.
question. Okay, so what is clear
Cook her
is
ass.
we have evidence.
Do you know
that
who Chris Malin is?
We have evidence that 3 senior officials within the Trump administration have ties to Jeffrey Epstein. And what I
does
can
ties
conclude,
mean?
I can conclude.
What does
What does ties mean? I don't know. Hanging out with him, or saying he was a good guy, or saying he liked them young, just like I do. You know, things like that, I think, are pretty deep. I mean, those are deeply held ties that you have with a guy. Sending him a birthday gift where you doodled a naked woman. I mean, with Donald Trump, the ties are so deep that it was, as far as we knew, until Jamie Raskin's new revelation, 38,000 times. It's a tie so deep that the authorities that were investigating Jeffrey Epstein sought out Donald Trump's name at least 38,000 times. Now Jamie Raskin says it's actually over 1 million times. Pretty big, don't you think? I mean, it's pretty significant. That's crazy. I mean, how many times have you guys been mentioned in the Epstein files? 0. I've been mentioned 0 times. Donald Trump, 1 million, potentially. I'm sorry, but you know, that means that there should be a deeper investigation. As a matter of fact, there has been a deeper investigation.
But you are saying that you have not talked to them.
What does ties mean? Can
I
you
think
define
Americans would be shocked to learn that you are not interested in talking with these officials who have ties to Jeffrey Epstein.
What does
across
ties
the
mean?
world,
Can you define that?
across the world,
Can you
prominent
define
men
ties?
who've been
Time
exposed
belongs to the
in the files have resigned their jobs in disgrace, and that's a good first start. And that same
Disgrace is
standard,
not saying the word
this
Chris
same
Malin.
standard should apply here. And Americans want accountability.
Who is Chris Malin?
Was the president
he?
aware? Please stop talking. It is not your time to ask
was he?
questions. It is not your time. I'm reclaiming my time, Mr. Chair.
One second.
Time belongs to the gentlelady from Vermont.
Was the president aware of Secretary Lutnick's ties to Epstein when he chose him to lead the Department of Commerce? Was he aware?
Chris Malin was a Border Patrol agent.
Okay, so
He
I'm
was
going to
shocked
conclude
that
that
she
the president, in
never
fact,
mentioned
did
him
know about his
in
ties
her
because he
district.
was the next door neighbor.
Shame on you.
Oh, for goodness sakes.
You're
this
from
is
a tiny,
pathetic.
beautiful
This is
state.
pathetic, Mr.
Committee
Chair.
will be in order.
I am not asking trick questions here.
You
The
got your
American
5
people
minutes.
have a right to know the answers to this. These are senior officials in the Trump administration. This is not a game, Secretary.
I'm Attorney General.
My apologies, I couldn't tell. By 2008, we knew that Epstein was a convicted user. And we now know that Lutnick went to Epstein's Island in 2012. How was that not a deal breaker for the president? And why aren't you asking questions of the Commerce Secretary about what he saw?
Yeah, you're the Attorney General. Half of the cabinet is staffed by Jeffrey Epstein affiliate files. It's crazy. As the Attorney General, I know that it's not fashionable to bring this up because it seems like it harkens back to a totally different time where there was at least like some degree of separation aesthetically between the Attorney General, like the DOJ, the Department of Justice, and the presidency. But that is kind of still, in theory, what is supposed to happen, right? So it's perfectly valid to ask the primary investigator in charge of all of these investigations why they didn't investigate any of the deeply held connections between half of the goddamn pedophile cabinet that Donald Trump maintains and Jeffrey Epstein. These are good questions to ask, by the way. It's important to ask them directly to Pam Bondi, and it's good that these clips are out there, okay?
When he was at the island, which he lied about not ever going to. Why are you not asking these questions? And I see that my time is almost...
This is such a slam dunk. This is such a slam dunk that it actually compromises multiple people. First of all, Pam Bondi has perjured herself, both in this setting and in the past as well. Kash Patel has perjured himself. Now you can demand course corrections. You can demand accountability. You can be like, yep, fire these people. You can go to the Republican Party. Howard Lutnick has lied over and over again. This is surprisingly one of the more public administrations that we have. It's ironic because like Obama still had plenty of file affiliates in his cabinet. We know this, okay? Probably less than, definitely less than Donald Trump. Bill Clinton himself is just like Donald Trump, directly affiliated with Jeffrey Epstein. Her acting this way during her hearings is career-ending. Lawyers, regardless of political party, deeply care about optics, and the reason ACB was confirmed, even though she's a liar and sucks. It's pretty crazy that, like, although all of the administrations have had like plenty of Epstein affiliates in their cabinet, the Trump one still rises above. I mean, it still goes above and beyond with how many pedophiles and how affiliated said pedophiles were. Pam Bondi's unhinged performance in a congressional hearing today was not because she was protecting Trump. It's because Bondi's protecting herself. She's clearly implicated in Epstein scandal given she served. No. I also used to think that. I don't think she's like personally a part of the cover-up. I used to, well, now she is. She is now. But I don't think she was back then. I think her timeline in Florida, it doesn't match up with any of the Epstein investigations, if I'm not mistaken. I might be wrong. Pam Bondi is jester maxing and currently being frame mogged by the House Judiciary Committee. She's experiencing visible cortisol spikes as she continues to get fact mogged while perjury maxing, zero composure gains, getting reclamation mogged every 45 seconds for filibuster maxing. The hearing has returned from recess. Bondi is getting truth into another dimension by the committee and still appears to be high inhib despite likely turbo coping and panic loading deflection fuel during lunch.
So I will say this, do the right thing, Attorney General. Meet with the survivors. They have been asking for a year. Meet with the survivors. Do the right thing. I yield back.
Gentlelady yields back. The gentleman from South Carolina is recognized for 5 minutes.
May I have 20 seconds of his time?
That'd be up to the gentleman, but.
Absolutely, Madam President.
Thank you. I was curious if you, Congresswoman, asked Bill Clinton that. Didn't see.
What about Bill Clinton? That's awesome. It's just no you. She's like a baby, a child's brain. No you over and over again. It's like, well, you're on trial right now. Like this is a House Judiciary Committee asking you what made people believe that, because this is not like a direct trial, but it's similar to a trial setting, right? Like there are some rules around like perjury, things of that nature, right? Because it's a congressional hearing. What's really funny about this is like this is the equivalent of sitting at your own trial and in your defense, like you're on trial for a murder, okay? You're on trial for a double homicide, and you turn around and go, well, Your Honor, what about all the times where I didn't commit homicide? Or turning around and saying, well, Your Honor, murders go unprosecuted every day. Why am I the difference here? Why am I the exception here? It's like, dog, it's over. You're sitting on a trial for your own murder defense. If this is the defense you're launching, it's over for you. It's done. You're going to prison. Like, imagine being like, well, Your Honor, OJ got away with it. Why can't I?
One tweet, not one. I didn't see one tweet when Joe Biden was in office about Bill Clinton. Didn't ask Merrick Garland anything about Epstein, not once when he was.
Weak sauce.
Also, I want the record to reflect that, with this anti-Semitic culture right now, she voted against a resolution.
Anti-Semitic culture? Hey, yo! Woo! Keep at it. Oh, that's awesome. I hope she used this. I hope she deployed this even more. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. That's awesome. Anti-Semitism defense? What's next? Is she going to tie this to like, well, Jeffrey Epstein was a Jewish man. Pam Bondi randomly accuses Representative Becca Balin of being anti-Semitic because of some random vote about Israel. Becca Balin is Jewish and her grandfather died in the Holocaust. Oh, I didn't even know that. Oh my God. Oh my God, that makes it so much worse. Oh my God. Oh, that's crazy. Pam Bondi using allegations of anti-Semitism to avoid accountability for a secretive conspiracy is cultural appropriation. Insane.
He is Jewish. I just want to be clear.
Do you want to go there, Attorney General? Or do you want to go there? Are you serious? Talking about anti-Semitism to a woman who lost her grandfather in the Holocaust? Really?
The committee will be in order.
Oh, it's spectacular.
Condemning.
Oh,
he is Jewish. I just want to be clear.
Do you want to go there, Attorney General? Or do you want to go there? Are you serious? Talking about anti-Semitism to a woman who lost her grandfather in the Holocaust? Really?
The committee.
Oh, that's so sick. Like many pro-Israel conservatives, Pam Bondi spent the last 5 years screeching about liberals who call all their opponents bigots and racist, but now she goes around casually branding people anti-Semites, even Jewish pro-Israel congresswomen with family Holocaust deaths. Which, by the way, it makes it even funnier because Balin, too, in an interview with VT Digger on Wednesday, reiterated that she believes Israel has a right to defend itself, said she believes the U.S. should continue offering Israel military aid in order to do so. Israel is literally surrounded by countries that want to destroy it. So, like, it's not even some like anti-Zionist. It's not even some anti-Zionist congressperson that she's calling an anti-Semite. It's awesome. That's a visible cortisol spike. Let's be real. It's AIPAC versus AIPAC violence. Also, access to all the info in the world and didn't look up her background. Remember how angry you were in the beginning of the stream and look at how happy we are. I mean, dude, it's not every day where you get to see a shellacking of this sort, of this magnitude, you know? And by the way, this should be proof that I am not I am not like a silly person. If a Democrat is doing the right thing, even if I don't agree with all this other shit that they do, I'm still going to give them props. Okay? I want the Democrats to do more stuff like this. Okay? This is a disastrous spectacle for the Republican Party. A disaster of epic proportions. And we only have it because the Democrats are doing the right thing. They're holding to account the Republican Party, at least when it comes to defending pedophiles, like defending elite pedophiles, okay? Just start your own country then. Who are you talking to? Also, the only reason why we're doing this is because, like, obviously the Republicans themselves are mad at the Republican Party for their, you know, mishandling of this stuff. Or not even mishandling, but like deliberate obfuscations.
Gentlelady is recognized.
Thank you. I seek unanimous consent to introduce into the record the research that Representative Kamlager-Dove and I referenced concerning the threat of right-wing domestic terrorism, which the Department of Justice scrubbed from its website in September.
Without objection, the gentlelady from
Thank
Texas
you.
is recognized.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. And to be clear, I'm not going to ask any questions of this witness because this witness has revealed that she has no intentions of answering questions. But instead, I'm going to ask some very basic questions really quickly of my colleague, Becca Balin, if she will answer right or wrong. Children.
Wrong.
Right or wrong, killing random citizens.
Definitely wrong.
Right or wrong, enriching yourself as the sitting president of the United States.
Definitely wrong.
Okay, thank you, because I probably never would have got that with our witness. Our witness who somehow is a lawyer but does not understand how it works with witnesses. I'm not really sure what law school she went to and what all kind of cases she tried, but typically when you come into a space and somebody's a witness, then they sit there and they answer questions instead of asking questions. And then we also have this objection that we use as lawyers called non-responsive when a witness fails to actually answer the question. But nevertheless, let me address the survivors because that's exactly who they are. They are not victims, they are survivors. Let me say thank you for having more courage and moral clarity in your pinky fingers than the entire Department of Justice. We are currently the laughing stock of the world, partially because of the failed leadership within the DOJ, as we see kings and queens falling everywhere around the world. But we don't know the basics of right and wrong in this country, because it's not about partisanship. And that's why I applaud Thomas Massey, because he's the only person on the Republican side that has a backbone and knows how to stand up to corruption. But nevertheless, let me keep going. My Democratic colleagues have been attacked this entire committee hearing. They have been lied on, and frankly, the American people weren't looking for that. They were looking for answers about the corruption that they see coming from this administration. In the written testimony of this witness, of this particular witness, she stated that when she took office, she had two main goals. The first was to end the weaponization of justice, and second, to return the department to its core mission. Not only have you lied about both, you've intentionally done the exact opposite. You're spending more taxpayer resources arresting journalists than you are prosecuting pedophiles and creeps. In fact, your boss, the President of the United States.
By the way, this is precisely the reason why I said back in the day, when Jasmine Crockett was like first coming out to say she was going to run for Senate, that like she would be a very good candidate if she wasn't a establishment Democrat in her policies. Okay? Like this moment right here, this uninterrupted 2-minute and 32-second moment right here is exactly why I said like she has the capabilities of launching a decent opposition to the Republicans. The only issue I have with her is that her policies are dog shit. She has the aesthetics. She has the fire. She can actually conduct herself this way. It's just what she is conducting herself in the direction of is horrible, horrible, old-ass, completely broken third-way neoliberalism politics. Like, this is the problem. This is the issue that I have with her. She's good at being a partisan attack dog. Not even. Like, I just wish that she, like, if she wasn't, if she was, like, anti-genocide, for example, okay? If she was anti-genocide, if she was anti-Israel, if she was anti-corporate Democrats, like, she could be a really reliable... She could be a really fucking reliable senator in Texas. She could even win potentially. Or anti-crypto too. Anti-crypto is like the... By the way, ironically enough, anti-crypto is even less popular than Israel. And Israel's popularity is dog shit, as we know. And she's pro-crypto. It's crazy.
States stated that this administration, quote, took the freedom of speech away. And at your direction, DOJ has arrested Don Lemon and Georgia Fort. And I might add that y'all actually had a judge that rejected y'all for trying to arrest Don Lemon before, just like the grand jury rejected y'all as it relates to Senator Kelly, just like a grand jury rejected y'all as it relates to Senator Slotkin, just like the case against Tish James was dismissed and the case against Mr. Comey was dismissed. I completely don't get how it is that you're sitting at the top of DOJ, because you don't seem to be good at your job. You're spending more taxpayer resources arresting these journalists. In fact, we know after Georgia Fort and Don Lemon were arrested, we know that there were homes of journalists that were raided. We know that threatened prosecution against students protesting your actions and forced tech companies to remove apps used to track ISIS activities. But let's circle back to you protecting pedophiles and creeps, because I want to talk about the president and his possible involvement with Jeffrey Epstein. Now, I don't know what the president might have done with Jeffrey Epstein, but unlike this administration, I believe that facts matter. So let's talk about the facts. Fact number one, Donald Trump is one of the most named people in the Epstein files. At least 5,000 files contains more than 38,000 references to Trump, his wife, or Mar-a-Lago. Fact number two, Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell made young girls available to Trump on multiple occasions. For example, according to this file, Ghislaine Maxwell presented a young girl to President Trump who spent more than 20 minutes apparently flirting with her. Here's another example. This shows notes from FBI investigators that describe Jeffrey Epstein transporting a victim to Mar-a-Lago to meet with President Trump, where he bragged to Trump that, quote, this is a good one. Now, I'm not saying that the president is a pedophile, but there is a lot of evidence in these files that suggests that he's very close friends with a lot of men who are pedophiles. What's crazy about all of this is just that this is a big cover-up. And this administration is engaged in it. In fact, this administration is complicit. But there are numerous others, like how the DOJ is attempting to obstruct justice in the investigation of the rogue agents who have murdered American citizens, or how the DOJ seized voter data from Fulton County in an attempt to steal the 2026 midterm elections, or how federal agents have Tom Homan on tape accepting a bribe and your agency killed the investigation, or how your agency is ready to give the president a $230 million payday, which is unconstitutional. The Constitution is clear. The president shall not receive any payment except his salary while in office. The fact of the matter is that you will be remembered as one of the worst attorney generals in history, an attorney general who has prioritized obstruction over justice, corruption over the law, fealty to the president over loyalty to the Constitution. And Mr. Chairman, I will yield.
Gentlelady yields. Gentleman from Missouri is recognized. Excuse me, gentleman from Kansas, the Attorney General, former Attorney General, Mr. Schmidt is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and General Bondi, thanks for being here. Did you have anything you wanted to say before we talk?
I do. Thank you, Congressman. Thank you, my friend, for many years. I find it interesting that she didn't even want to try, Congresswoman Crockett, to ask any questions, because she certainly did not condemn her leader, Hakeem Jeffries, for taking money from Jeffrey Epstein after Epstein was convicted. And I will be brief to give you your time, Congressman. This is what she didn't want to talk about. Texas, from Cuba, convicted, homicide, arson, weapon offense.
Convicted. So what are we talking about? Convict
Texas,
some of these perpetrators that these women that are
Chairman,
sitting
time
behind
belongs-
you
time
that
belongs
you
to the
refuse
gentleman
to even
from
acknowledge
Kansas.
they are here.
Time belongs to the
Texas.
gentleman from Kansas.
Mr. Chairman, could I have a few seconds
You
back
bet,
to make
you
up
bet.
for the yelling? Thank you. General,
Thank
did you have anything
Congress.
further to say?
Texas, convicted of homicide. Cecil Joseph, from Dominican Republic. Texas, convicted for kidnapping, rape. Khalid Khan, from Afghanistan. That's why they want to talk about Epstein and not what's happening in their own states.
What are you talking about? They're convicted. The whole point is Jeffrey Epstein's affiliates are not. That's not how this works. You can't go, hey, look at all these people that look at all these people who have been convicted under your watchful eye. Please stop looking at the non-convicted elite I'm defending now.
Thank you, General, and thank you for being here. And this has been quite a spectacle to observe today. I think it's sad. I ran for Congress because I thought we had serious problems in this country we wanted to try to fix together. And this performance today, not yours, General, but some of my colleagues, has not shored up my confidence that we are up to the task. You and I served together for 8 years when you were Attorney General of Florida and I in Kansas. You served professionally. I'm glad to be able to serve with you in these new roles, and I'm
The unanimous consent?
Yes, please.
All right, the gentlelady is recognized.
Mr. Chair, I have a few unanimous consent requests. I would like to submit into the record this New York Times article titled "Alex Pretty's Friends and Family Denounce Sickening
Not
Lies
object.
About His Life." I also would like to
objection.
submit this Daily Mail exclusive interview with Vice President J.D. Vance titled "J.D. Vance Refuses to Apologize to Alex Pretty's Family After Spreading
objection.
ICE Assassin Claim." One more. My last submission request is a New York Times article titled "FBI Agent Who Tried to Investigate ICE Officer in Shooting Resigns."
Without objection.
Thank you.
The chair now recognizes the gentlelady from North Carolina.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Attorney General Bondi, I think you and pretty much everybody else here and throughout the country believes that convicted sex offenders don't deserve special treatment or privileges in prison. And yet Ghislaine Maxwell, Jeffrey Epstein's co-conspirator, received perk after perk in prison. In July, she had a 2-day interview with your deputy and President Trump's former defense attorney, Todd Blanche. Just days after.
Love it. What do I always say? You got to bring that up. It's journalistic malpractice that many journalists don't bring that fact up. Very, very important.
After that, Maxwell was transferred from a federal correctional institution in Florida to a minimum security camp in Texas, which she, as a sex offender, would normally be ineligible for. At this new facility, as the ranking member talked about, and by the way, it's nicknamed Club Fed, we've heard reports that she's been afforded special privileges: puppy time, private workouts, personal mail, secretarial services. Attorney General Bondi, does a convicted sex offender like Ghislaine Maxwell deserve special treatment and privileges in prison? Yes or no?
Let me be crystal clear on this. No. And
Thank you.
let me keep going. No, let me keep going.
Perfect. Well, I
did not know she was being transferred.
I asked you yes or no.
She was not transferred to a lower
Mr. Chairman,
level.
please stop the clock and remind the witness of the rules. One rule she needs to
And I'm
understand
glad
here.
that we're agreeing. So when we're agreeing, we can move on to some other things.
When
But
we're
I
not
want you
agreeing,
to know that every time she does get these perks, and it's been publicly reported, that the folks she's abused, the survivors who are sitting here, they see themselves as being denied justice. They feel re-traumatized. And I'm glad that we agree on that. But she should not be in that prison. And she needs to be moved back to a maximum security prison as soon as possible. But what she has told another committee here is that she won't cooperate with them unless she gets clemency from Donald Trump. It's just crazy to consider that she can be wielding this kind of influence within the administration. But that begs the question, who ordered her to be transferred to the minimum security prison that she was ineligible for? Who signed off on the special privileges? Was it Mr. Blanche? Was it one of your other subordinates? So please, can you tell us who sent her there, since you don't agree she should be there?
I said I do not agree she should receive special treatment. She was transferred, I learned after the fact, to the same level facility, and that is a question for the Bureau of Prisons. I was not involved in that at all. The same level facility, I don't know why, but you know, instead of talking about Ghislaine Maxwell, who hopefully will die in prison, you should be talking about Irina Zarutska.
I have a couple of...
Wait, you can't say that, dumbass. You're the Attorney General. What are these people doing? I'm not a process liberal by any means, but like, she currently has a appeals case. Can she even say that as the Attorney General? Do these people not realize that they are, like, when they say stuff, it's a matter of the law. Like, you are the highest law enforcement officer in the country. This is an opportunity for a competent defense team to use your words.
Died on a subway.
Right, and I absolutely...
You don't talk about that.
I have been talking about it and actually helping with these issues. But we're going to move back to you.
I bet we are.
Yes, of course, because you're here to testify. That's what the whole point of this endeavor is. So of course we're moving back to you. It is all about you. So as we've heard, she took the fifth in response to every single question in that committee hearing, and her lawyer dangled the offer of clemency. Should Donald Trump pardon or commute her sentence? Should she be released from prison, yes or no? You said you hope she dies there, so I'm hoping the answer is no.
I already answered that question.
Good. I'm very glad. I really like this bipartisan agreement about
when
what
it
should
agrees
happen
with
with
you.
her.
But you don't want to talk about Irina Zarutska. You don't want to talk about
I talk about her
murdered
all
by
the
a
time,
violent crime
but
offender
I am not
in
here
your
to
jurisdiction.
testify before Congress. You are. That is your job today.
You're
That's what you're getting paid for.
obsessed with attack.
I want you to know that your own DOJ employee, he's recently been demoted and had some other problems, advises on pardons. Do you think he will be advising Mr. Trump on any kind of clemency or pardon for Ghislaine Maxwell?
I'm not going to speculate, and you couldn't even identify properly. That's why you don't want to talk about Irina Zarutska. You couldn't properly identify her relative.
I absolutely
it's embarrassing.
Have been, and her family, by the way, appreciates all of the condolences, all of the help, everything that our law enforcement in North Carolina has been doing to help her family. Her family feels well treated. Thank you, and I yield back.
Gentlelady yields back. Gentleman from California is recognized.
Her family is also literally says stop using Irina's death in order to do like racial agitative propaganda. But that hasn't, of course, stopped the Republicans from doing so regardless. It's pretty insane. God, these people are they're such evil monsters, man. We gotta punish them. We have to punish them. Please, 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 we have to punish them. Pam Bondi, she has to go to prison.
Work to be done in that area, but I want to thank the Attorney General for her great work in the first year on the job, and I want to thank you for being here. With that, I would yield to the ranking member for an opening statement.
Thank you kindly, Mr. Chairman, and welcome Attorney General Bondi. You've got the best lawyer's job in America because your mission is justice and your clients are the American people. But to promote justice for the people, you've got to listen to the victims, like the women seated behind you today. Those are just some of the hundreds of survivors of Jeffrey Epstein's global sex trafficking ring who are demanding that the truth be told and are demanding accountability for the abusers who trafficked them. You still haven't met with these survivors. So with their permission, let me introduce to you the survivors and late survivors' family members who are present today. There's Teresa Helm, there's Jess Michaels, Laura Bloom McGee, Danny Bensky, Liz Stein, Marina Lacerda, Sky and Amanda Roberts, who are the family of the late Virginia Giuffre, Charlene Richard, and Lisa Phillips. Now, you're not showing a lot of interest in the victims, Madam Attorney General, whether it's Epstein's human trafficking ring or the homicidal governmental violence against citizens in Minneapolis. As Attorney General, you're siding with the perpetrators and you're ignoring the victims. That will be your legacy unless you act quickly to change course. You're running a massive Epstein cover-up right out of the Department of Justice. You've been ordered by subpoena and by Congress to turn over 6 million documents, photographs, and videos in the Epstein files, but you've turned over only 3 million. You say you're not turning over the other 3 million because they're somehow duplicative, but we know that there are actual memos of victim statements in there, and you also took down the Department of Justice's prosecution memo from 2019. So it's clearly not all duplicative, but even if it were, why not release it? Just release all the duplicative stuff. In the half you did produce, you redacted the names of abusers, enablers, accomplices, and co-conspirators, apparently to spare them embarrassment and disgrace, which is the exact opposite of what the law ordered you to do. Even worse, you shockingly failed to redact many of the victims' names, which is what you were ordered to do by Congress. Some of the victims had come forward publicly, but many had not. Many had kept their torment private, even from family and friends, but you published their names, their identities, their images on thousands of pages for the world to see. So you ignored the law, and even with over 100,000 employees at your disposal, you acted with some mixture of staggering incompetence, cold indifference, and jaded cruelty towards more than 1,000 victims abused and trafficked. This performance screams cover-up. Convicted sex trafficker and groomer Ghislaine Maxwell opened the gates of hell to Virginia Giuffre and hundreds of other victims, as Virginia recorded in her remarkable book, Nobody's Girl. But when Maxwell was subpoenaed to come testify before Congress, you and Todd Blanche quickly moved her from a higher security prison to a minimum security camp in Texas, where she's enjoyed 5-star treatment, including catered meals, private gym time, and access to a therapy puppy. All because Todd Blanche, who's utterly failed to investigate the monstrous crimes of Epstein and Maxwell's co-conspirators, spent 9 hours with Maxwell and satisfied himself that she would have nothing untoward to say about Donald Trump, which is your only real interest in the matter, based on institutional performance. But abandoning victims and coddling perpetrators is what you do best. When the FBI opened a criminal investigation into the brutal killing in Minneapolis of Renee Good, a poet and 37-year-old mother of 3, by Trump's masked paramilitary ICE agents, you shut it down. You claim you're investigating the cold-blooded murder of Alex Preddy, an ICU nurse at the VA. But how can we trust the administration when the president and Kristi Noem call Preddy a domestic terrorist And Stephen Miller called him a would-be assassin. Not only do you refuse to share evidence with the state and local investigators and prosecutors in Minnesota, you have blocked their access to the crime scene and the evidence. How are you seeking justice for Marimar Martinez, the Montessori school teacher in Chicago who was shot 5 times by a Border Patrol agent who bragged about it on text? Or the family of Keith Porter, a father of 2 shot and killed by an off-duty ICE agent in LA? Or the family of Silverio Villegas Gonzalez, shot and killed in Illinois minutes after he dropped his kids off at school? There's no sign of any movement at the Department of Justice. You even launched a criminal investigation into Renee Good's grieving widow. How sick is that?
Yeah.
But it's even worse. You've turned the People's Department of Justice into Trump's instrument of revenge. Trump orders up prosecutions like pizza, and you deliver every time. He tells you to go after James Comey, Letitia James, Lisa Cook, and Jerome Powell, the head of the Federal Reserve Board, and members of Congress like Adam Schiff, Mark Kelly, Alyssa Slotkin, Chrissy Houlihan, Jason Crow, Chris DeLuzio, and Maggie Goodlander, to name a few, and you snap to it. You replace real prosecutors with counterfeit stooges who robotically do the president's bidding. Nothing in American history comes close to this complete corruption of the justice function and
It is true. Like the American government has always been a ruthless administrative apparatus that has overseen so much death and destruction. They've engaged in naked corruption from time to time, but never to this severity, never this brazenly. It is genuinely unique. It's just that maybe it's partially because of their incompetence, where they don't even like try to cover it up. Maybe it's a matter of the times. Maybe it's because there's not a lot of investment or interest in holding people to account. I mean, this shit makes Nixon's Watergate look like just a normal day in office. I mean, Donald Trump, the shit that Donald Trump has pulled off on a daily basis, it makes Watergate look like the least corrupt thing of all time. I guess the only reason why Watergate even had impact was because at that time, at that point, there was this notion that like the American government is supposed to be above such endeavors, you know? And because of that, in order to maintain the dignity of the office, like there had to be a resignation. Yeah, it makes Watergate look like stolen office supplies, dude. Bondi is fried. GOP started jump ship. GOP Representative May says she lost all faith in the DOJ over lack of Epstein prosecutions. Soviets existed. So Asmongold is actually trashing Bondi so hard it's funny to see. Hell yeah. Yeah, baby.
Contamination of federal law enforcement. And the good news is many serious lawyers at DOJ, including some of your own original appointees, have refused your lawless orders. Danielle Sassoon, your original pick for acting U.S. Attorney in Manhattan, resigned.
I told you, total woke victory here. Ugh. Actually, that is a weird thing to say because it's like woke. Back in the day, woke was about being like a kind person, right? Nowadays, it's woke to be anti-pedophilia. What the are we doing? It's just a sign of the times, man. It's gotten so much worse. What the hell are we doing? Yeah, woke is just please follow the law against international pedophilic elite.
Rather than follow your corrupt order to quash an indictment against Mayor Eric Adams as a political favor from Donald Trump. A Federalist Society member who clerked for Justice Scalia, U.S. Attorney Sassoon refused to participate in this blatantly corrupt scheme.
I feel a lack of accountability for his pedos and the protectors is a bigger threat to democracy than Trump's authoritarian actions. No, it's not. It plays the same exact role. Legislation could be passed to prevent future authoritarian actions, but if these creeps get away with this, then any legislation is as valuable as toilet paper. No, it's the same thing. It's the same naked corruption. Trying to deflect from the files so incredibly hard. I hate it here. Your obsession with the Epstein files is a little weird at this point. Oh. Come on, Guy Vermectin, pro-Second Amendment conspiracy theorist, Detroit Red Wings fan, libertarian-ish.
Her top assistant, Hagen Scotton, an Iraqi war vet and 2-time Bronze Star recipient who clerked for Chief Justice Roberts, and then Judge Kavanaugh, promptly resigned too, writing to your office, quote, "I expect you will eventually find someone who is enough of a fool or enough of a coward to file your motion, but it was never going to be me. You and the president nominated Eric Siebert, a 15-year career prosecutor, to be your U.S. attorney for the Eastern District of Virginia. But after 5 months of investigating Letitia James and James Comey, he found no evidence to justify criminal charges. So you forced him out. You replaced him with Lindsay Halligan, Trump's personal lawyer from the Mar-a-Lago documents case, who had zero prosecutorial experience and no qualifications. And then you were humiliated when a federal judge found that this corrupt appointment was blatantly unlawful and threw out Halligan's indictments entirely. And grand juries of American citizens have repeatedly rejected your vendettas and baseless indictments brought by the hacks left at DOJ now, with 2 different grand juries in Virginia voting down indictments against Letitia James in a single week. And just yesterday, another grand jury shut down your vendetta factory by rejecting indictments against the 6 members of Congress who had spoken out to remind all service members that they have a duty to refuse illegal orders. You tried to get a grand jury to indict 6 members of Congress who were veterans of our armed forces on charges of seditious conspiracy simply for exercising their First Amendment rights. I hope you will heed the wisdom and the constitutional patriotism of those grand jurors and not try it again by doubling down on that humiliation. As your best lawyers are sacked for having participated in the January 6th case, or just flee for the exits now, your new lawyers keep lying in court. In dozens of cases, they've been excoriated for lying to federal judges. Chief Judge Boasberg, right here in D.C., suggested your Department of Justice perpetrated a fraud on the court. Other judges found your statements to be, quote, inexplicably misleading, patently incredible, totally inconsistent, and so disingenuous that the court is left with little confidence that the government can be trusted to tell the truth about anything. Now, as ranking member, I asked the chairman to add a few extra rounds of questions today because we each have 5 hours of questions, not 5 minutes, but we're stuck with 5 minutes. That's clearly insufficient to give voice to America's victims and survivors and to demand answers about all the corruption and cover-ups that we see at DOJ right now. We've got just 1 round, so we ask you politely but firmly, Madam Attorney General, please do not waste 1 second of our precious time by evading questions, by changing the subject, or engaging in personal attacks against members of Congress. We saw your performance in the Senate, and we're not going to accept that. This isn't a game. In the Senate, you brought something with you called a burn book, a binder of smears to attack members personally for doing the people's work of oversight. Please set the burn book aside and answer our questions. And when you hear us reclaim our time, that means it's time for you to stop speaking. We only have 5 minutes, so when we reclaim our time, that means you stop.
Yeah, she didn't hear that. So remember, this was the intro. This was the introductory speech. That's the reason why she's not able to stop it. Yeah, we're watching it in reverse.
If you don't, we will ask the chair to stop the clock and let you go on his time. The quality of justice in America depends on the character of our government. Please do your job and bring the Department of Justice back from the brink. The survivors seated behind you and the American people watching everywhere deserve a Department of Justice worthy of its name. I yield back, Mr. Chairman.
Without objection, all of the opening statements will be included in the record. We will now introduce today's witness, the Honorable.
How much do you think the claims of these survivors are worth? As the good congressman from Kentucky just pointed out, there were lots of survivors who had decided, for reasons of their own, never to release their names. That determination was represented to people in Congress, and we built it into our federal law that their names could not be released, and yet you published their.
Yeah, this is after the introduction. Now she's going to cook him. Well, not cook him, but she's going to say he's a 2-bit failed attorney.
Names, their phone numbers, their addresses, personally identifying information. If Donald Trump can get $10 billion theoretically from the Department of Justice, how much should these people get for a far worse violation of their privacy rights and a far greater danger established to them in their lives?
Do you even know who Chase Mulligan is? You're so obsessed.
Dude, come on. Come on. Dude. Oh my God. Do you know Adam Tarlington? I rest my case. It's like, this is not this is not an internet debate, okay? This is a judicial oversight committee hearing in the House about your actions. I don't get it. She doesn't get it. Yeah, I was going to say, it's like, she just keeps thinking like, no, you is going to get her out of this shit.
Obsessed with, you don't, do you?
I'm going to teach you the rules again. You're the Attorney General of the United States. We have rules here.
You're obsessed with him.
You're the Attorney General of the United States.
With
And the rules.
obsessed with
You're obsessed with my man, Donald Trump. You're obsessed with him. Stop using my man, Donald Trump, in vain. He is the Holy Lord. I'll say again. Do you know Connor Tarlington? That's right. Convicted felon. Connor Tarlington, convicted felon. Do you know him? I have different names. I have so many names of different felons in your district.
Donald Trump. You have Trump derangement syndrome.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like my time
Mulligan will be
restored. I'd like my time
sentenced next
restored.
week in your district. In your district, and you don't even know about it, about keeping children safe from online predators.
Time belongs to the gentleman from Maryland. The gentleman can proceed.
Yeah, and I want the whole country to look at this. Because this is the Attorney General of the United States, whose job is law enforcement. We've never had a witness who has misunderstood our rules and been unable to conform his or her conduct to our rules before. We have only 5 minutes, and so we use our time to ask you specific questions.
How long are you giving me to answer?
Excuse me, I'm not yielding to you right now. I'd like that second restored too. So, Ms. Bondi, the way it works is we ask you a question, and you answer it, and if you go off on a wild goose chase, another tangent, you start reading statistics, or you start talking about stuff going on in our district, and by the way, I invite you to my district. Come to my district, but that's not what we're here to do today, okay? So, and you do that, then we're allowed to say we reclaim our time. At that point, you have to be quiet. You have no choice. You have to be quiet. So I hope you understand the rule at this point. Now, here's what I want to ask you. You're in law enforcement. We've seen all kinds of evidence of crimes. And when we go over to the Department of Justice for the 4 computers for every member of Congress, we see more evidence of crimes. Will you create a joint task force of the Department of Justice and governors and state attorney generals and district attorneys across the country to investigate the crimes that have taken place against these victims and more than 1,000 like them? The DOJ is not doing its job. Will you create a task force with state and local law enforcement to make that happen?
Gentlelady can respond if she wants to.
Do you know Mr. Hank Jedediah? He had a jaywalking conviction in your district. He was convicted. I'm not going anywhere with this train of thought. I just want to keep saying names of criminals in your district. Oh, you accuse me of engaging in a cover-up of international file elite? Well, guess what? There are criminals in your neighborhood, and they're now in prison.
Thank you, Chairman. He called Chase Mulligan a wild goose chase and didn't even know who he was. He is a defendant in your own district who preyed on girls.
Mr. Chairman.
Well, you know what? If he were part of the Epstein investigation, you wouldn't do anything about it.
Online chat
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Rooms and committed sextortion. Yet he didn't even know in your tiny little district who he was.
Mr. Chairman, she's embarrassing you.
He's about to be
This is your committee, and she is embarrassing you.
Shame on you.
The amount of resources that have gone into targeting Attorney General James, months of investigations, multiple failed indictments, is astounding. Since your own prosecutors told you that there is not enough evidence to support a conviction, it's clear that you were going.
Oh yeah, this is Fat Israel. A lot of people falsely said this is Greater Israel. It's not. It's just Israel but fat, drawn by an Ehud Barak in front of a Jeffrey Epstein. It looks like potentially a minor victim of Jeffrey Epstein, and in the background is just right there.
After her simply because she held President Trump accountable and he wants to punish her. And she is just one name on a long list of Trump political enemies that DOJ is reportedly targeting. From Jerome Powell and Lisa Cook at the Federal Reserve to James Comey, numerous Democratic members of Congress, John Brennan, Jack Smith, Democratic officials in Minnesota, Chris Krebs, Miles Taylors, and more. And those are just the ones we know about. In contrast to these politically motivated investigations, grasping at something they can charge their enemies with, we now have concrete evidence of disgusting criminality revealed in the Epstein files. So I really have just one question for you. How many of Epstein's co-conspirators have you indicted? How many perpetrators are you even investigating?
First, you showed it. I find it.
How many have you indicted?
Excuse me. I'm going to answer the question.
Answer my question.
No, I'm going to answer the question the way I want to answer the question.
No,
Your
you're going to answer the
theatrics are
question the way I
ridiculous.
asked it.
Chairman Jordan, I'm not going to get in the gutter with these people, but I'm going to answer the question.
How many have you indicted?
Again, the time belongs to
Reclaiming my time.
the time belongs.
I think it's very interesting.
Reclaiming my time.
I think it's very interesting.
You can
that
reclaim
he
your
talks
time,
about
but-
they
Reclaiming my time,
indicted.
Mr.
The
Chairman.
president said they
Close the
indicted
clock.
him twice.
Mr. Chairman, please
They
stop the
sure
clock
did.
and stop the clock and restore his time.
Okay, here we go with these
Committee will be in order.
theatrics.
The time belongs to the gentleman from New York. We will give you a few more seconds. We will do that. But when you ask a question, the witness gets to answer. You may not like the answer, but she gets to
The
answer.
question was, how many of Epstein's...
They don't like the answer, Chairman,
my time.
because it's honest.
Reclaiming
So
my-
he asked a
reclaiming my
4-minute
time.
question.
Restore 45
and
seconds
I
to
am
Mr. Nadler,
going
please,
to
Mr. Chairman.
Answer.
You can let her filibuster all day long, but not on our watch. Not on our time. No way. And I told you about that, Attorney General, before you started.
You don't tell me
Yeah, I
anything,
did tell you because we saw what you did in the Senate.
Lawyer, not even a lawyer.
Committee will be in order.
Time, and I should get back at least 45 seconds.
We will give you a few more seconds. I
Not a
said that
few more,
already.
45 seconds.
Okay, I'm timing right now, Mr. Nadler. Go
All
ahead.
right.
My time. The answer to my question, how many of Epstein's co-conspirators has she indicted, is 0. You have been the Attorney General for a whole year, and your DOJ fired the lead prosecutor of this case, sat on evidence this entire time, and claimed falsely last July that there were no more leads. It took an act of Congress for you to finally release part of the Epstein files, and when you did, you included personal information about the victims while protecting the names of abusers.
Time of the gentleman
None
has
of the perpetrators have
expired.
been brought to justice, but enormous resources
Time
have been
of the
dedicated
gentleman
to
has
pursuing Trump's
expired,
enemies.
and
It's
obviously
clear
there
that
was-
under your leadership, the Department of Justice
There
no
was
longer
no
works
question
for the
in
American
there.
people. It works
Jim Jordan doing what he does best. Participating in the cover-up of sex criminals once again. This is the reason why I brought it up earlier. This is what Jim Jordan is good at. This is what he did before he got into Congress. And now we know why he's in the position that he's in. He's Mr. Pedophilia Defender. Ohio files, too. Once again, this time it's a different Ohio file, but one that was still connected to the previous Ohio pedophilia scandal that he was a participant in.
Donald Trump. I yield back.
The gentleman yields back.
First, he brought up the president saying they indicted me twice. They sure did. They tried to impeach him twice. And you, Mr. Nadler, were one of the leads on the impeachment. I was on the other side. I lived that with you. During impeachment, you said the president conspired, sought foreign interference in the 2016 election. Robert Mueller found no evidence, none, of foreign interference in 2016. Have you apologized to President Trump? Have you apologized to President Trump, all of you who participated in those impeachment hearings against Donald Trump? You all should be apologizing. You sit here and you attack the president, and I am not going to have it. I'm not going to put up with it. You know, all they want to do, the American people need to know this. They are talking about Epstein today. This has been around since the Obama administration. This administration released over 3 million pages of documents, over 3 million, and Donald Trump signed that law to release all of those documents. He is the most transparent president in the nation's history. And none of them asked Merrick Garland over the last 4 years one word about Jeffrey Epstein. How ironic is that? You know why? Because Donald Trump, the Dow right now is over, the Dow is over $50,000. I don't know why.
Oh, yeah. Wow. You're here telling me that my pedophile president is directing me, his loyal servant, to protect all of his other pedophile butt buddies. Well, I'm here to tell you that those same pedophiles are making so much money on the stock market, sir. I'm going to use this excuse as anytime someone asks me why I've done something wrong.
Why you're laughing? You're a great stock trader, as I hear, Raskin. The Dow is over 50,000 right now. The S&P at almost 7,000. And the NASDAQ smashing records. Americans' 401ks and retirement savings are booming. That's what we should be talking about. We should be talking about making Americans safe. We should be talking about, what does a Dow have to do with anything? That's what they just asked. Are you kidding?
Somebody say you're a sex criminal? What are you going to say? Nuh-uh. Yeah, it turns out we are saying that. Like, we are hearing people say that. It turns out you just say, first you say nuh-uh, and then you say no you. Wait, Melania to... Big scoop here. This email has been confirmed to be written by Melania Trump. Dear G, how are you? Nice story about Jeffrey Epstein in New York Mag. You look great on picture. I know you are very busy flying all around the world. How was Palm Beach? I cannot wait to go down. Give me a call when you are back in New York. Have a great time. Love, Melania. Remember, we now know that when people say like Melania's a mail order bride or whatever, like, just remember, okay, chill. Just remember that Melania Trump literally was a Jeffrey Epstein, was a Jeffrey Epstein affiliate. Jeffrey Epstein, by way of the guy, what's his name? Jean-Luc Bernard? No, was it Bernard? Whatever. Brunel. Jean-Luc Brunel was introduced to Donald Trump, not Mélenchon chatters. No, it's Brunel. Another sex trafficker who died in prison. That one anti-Israel lady lost their job. Carrie Prejean Baller has been removed from the President Trump's Religious Liberty Commission. Of course they did. All right, let's continue with this and we'll get back to that
Jordan,
in a second.
Mr. Jordan.
Committee will be in order.
Mr. Jordan, am I going to get an extra 45 seconds added to my time?
The committee will be in order. The time belongs to the gentleman from Texas. Ms. Bondi, the Attorney General can respond.
Thank you. The Dow has shattered 50,000 for the first time. This is crazy. They said it couldn't be done in 4 years, yet President Trump has done it in 1 year. National median rents have fallen to a 4-year low thanks to Donald Trump. That's why they want to focus on Epstein and our most transparent president in the nation's history. The murder rate, as I said, has plummeted to a 125-year low thanks to Donald Trump. For an unprecedented 9 straight months, there were 0 illegal border crossings at the southern border. That's what we should be focused on.
Oh my God.
All the great work that this president has done and will continue to do to keep America safe and to make Americans safe.
Quote, if you come for law enforcement, the Trump administration will come for you, end quote. I want to show you just a brief video. It's about 30 seconds, and I'll ask you a couple questions about it.
You guys are disgusting, man. Hey, you guys are disgusting. I'm former law enforcement. You're disgusting. You are the Nazi. You are the Gestapo. You can't see it because you're chasing your pension, right? Pension. Your retirement, right? That's what runs your life, your retirement. The sad thing is they're not even going to get their pension because it's going to be worthless. And shame on you. Shame on you. Shame on you. Yeah. Fuck that. Yeah.
Attorney General Bondi, that man works for you now, right?
Who was that, Congresswoman?
Oh my God. Wait, what? Okay. I didn't think they were going there. What? Hey, yo, what?
Just a brief video, it's about 30 seconds, and I'll ask you a couple questions about it.
A January 6er that's calling the cops Nazis is now working for the Department of Justice? Oh my God.
Who was that, Congresswoman?
The man in that video, the one who was in the police-worn body.
She's supposed to know every J6er that works for her. I mean, if he can find it. Yeah, kind of. Yeah, I think it'd be good to do a background check. You're the Attorney General. What are you talking about, dude? Like, you say shit like this. You say the joke is her office is full of J6ers. You say shit like this, but like, could you get a job if you committed a crime? You know what I mean? You can't even go and work at McDonald's. What are you talking about? Are we just now anti-background check for federal law enforcement now? That's where we're at?
Cam footage, the one allegedly yelling, "Kill him," at police officers on January 6th. His name is Jared Wise.
He does work for us.
He works for you at the Department of Justice.
He does.
This is an individual whom a federal grand jury indicted for 2 felonies and 4 misdemeanors related to his...
He wasn't even randomly there. Bro, he was indicted. Oh my God. Oh, that's great.
Participation in the attack on January 6th. One of those charges was forcibly assaulting, resisting, opposing, impeding, intimidating, and interfering with police with the intent to commit another felony. This is who you choose as the Chief Law Enforcement Officer of the United States of America to hire at the Department of Justice. Someone on video yelling, "Kill him," at police officers, right?
I believe he was pardoned by President Trump.
Oh, he was.
That makes it so much better. Oh, that's awesome. I believe he was pardoned by President Trump. Oh, shit, my bad. Oh, that's so sick. That's so sick. What can you say? I mean, remember, this entire hearing is about Donald Trump misusing the law and defending his buddies, and how the Attorney General is basically doing exactly that at his command.
Pardoned. You're right. You're right. Pardoned by President Trump for his offense. Pardoned for yelling, "Kill him," at police officers. And yet you expect hardworking police officers across the country to believe that you take law enforcement seriously. You could imagine the reaction of so many folks across the country hearing the Chief Law Enforcement Officer of the United States refuse to even condemn what that individual whom you've now hired did. But in any event, let's talk a little bit about some of the other divisions within the Department of Justice and what's happened over the last year. You're familiar with the Public Integrity section of the DOJ's criminal division. I think it's referred to as PIN. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know which presidential administration under which the PIN was first created?
I can tell you what administration that the weaponization was ended under.
I'll reclaim my time. This wasn't a trick question.
You don't get to
Madam Attorney
reclaim
General.
your time.
Madam Attorney General.
Because I don't like it.
Mr. Chairman, will you explain to the witness that he does reclaim his time?
Because I don't answer a question to your satisfaction?
Mr. Chairman. Madam Attorney General, the time belongs to the gentleman from Colorado.
The president under which PIN was created was Gerald Ford. It was created after Watergate. I'm not asking a question, Madam Attorney General. The administration under which it was created was Gerald Ford. When you first started as the Attorney General of the United States, there were 35 people working in that office. There are now 2 people working in that office because you have gutted it. How many people work for the National Cryptocurrency Enforcement Team in the criminal division today?
Can I answer the question about PIN?
I've asked you a question. How many
You've
people
asked me a question, but you don't
How
want
many
the
people
answer.
work
I'm not
for the
gonna answer
National
your questions the way you
Cryptocurrency
want.
Enforcement Team? You won't answer how many
I'll
people?
answer PIN.
You.
PIN will not be
you know what?
weaponized.
You know what?
What's
Madam
funny
Attorney
about
General,
this?
I'll say to the chairman.
What's funny about
Mr. Chairman,
this?
you know what? The answer is And I think I understand why the
about
Attorney General
this?
does not want to answer the question, because you eliminated the National Cryptocurrency Enforcement Team last year. So I understand why you don't want to tell the American people who works there.
Yeah, I
no one
understand
works
why
there
you don't want to
anymore,
talk about
Madam
Mohammed
Attorney
Solomon
General.
in
So,
your district.
In any event,
who
I would
murdered.
I'm not kidding when I say this. I don't think that people are going to sit around and be like, that's based. Like, she's cooking them. You know what I mean? That's part of the reason why even Asmonfold, from what I understand, is not defending Pam Bondi and saying Pam Bondi's response here has been disastrous.
Mr. Chairman, will you stop the clock so his time is not wasted by the witness?
I've been very generous with allowing extra time when we have these little disputes.
I understand.
You got the time, Mr. Goose?
I might as well.
Yeah, she has this burn book where she has these witty comebacks for every congressperson I know. And we saw an image of that. Where is it? Where the fuck is it? God damn it. Hold on. Oh, here it is. She literally had their search histories just so she could like attack them on, like, she had their search. She looked at their search histories, what they looked in the Epstein files. So she had a counter, and she got the DOJ to pull, the Department of Justice to basically pull information about every single person and their districts and criminals in their districts, to bring up criminals doing crime in their districts who are convicted, by the way. No, it's literally, it's a physical, the burn book is not a joke. It's a physical thing. Unbelievable. Raskin is now demanding an investigation by the IG. Top House Judiciary Rep Raskin says he will demand the DOJ Inspector General investigate AG Bondi after photos emerged. Representative Jayapal's Epstein file search history and Bondi's burn book she used to rebut them questioning at today's House Judiciary hearing. Yeah. They're so stupid, bro. I mean, they are so dumb. They are so unimaginably dumb. It is unbelievable. You can joke about Pam Bondi's ridiculous unprofessionalism all you want, but I'm deeply shocked by it. She acts as if she fears absolutely no consequences. I mean, she doesn't. Until the Dems hold their feet to the fire, until there's enough motion from the public too, until you can get the Republicans on board to yell at the Trump administration, which is the only time he actually backs away, there will be no consequences. But I do think in this circumstance, because there's so much curiosity around this story, around this issue, and it's so bipartisan in their divergence from the administration, that I do think that this could be a unique opportunity to get a scalp.